What is up, Pumaka fans? My name is Jack by Miendoge, and today, guys, I'm welcoming you to my new series I'm doing that is exclusive to this channel right here. You guys should be very proud of yourselves. This is the a series I'm currently calling But Why Though? Because it's all about sets that I have seen over the past week in the Pumaka, obviously, that made me go, but why though? Like sets that just, you look at them, you see them, and you thought, why would you ever bring that? And inevitably, we're going to find 3 of those every week. We all prep bad sometimes, we all make mistakes, and sometimes somebody just needs to point them out and laugh at them. So that's where I come in. As a quick reminder, if you disagree with me on any of my points, or you're triggered by what I say about your sets or somebody else's sets, here's a little clip on my opinion on that. Ooh, nobody gives a shit! And with that out of the way, we can move into the actual sets I've chosen for this week. So, for our first set of today, and our first overall set of all time, we are covering a set by Espelancer of the Dallas Staryu in his match versus CJ of the Baltimore Oriolu. I just remembered the team names. Good job, self. Alright, so, he brought are you ready for this? Because this was mind-boggling to me when I watched his team prep. He brought Specially Defensive Manectric. It's a thing. But why though? Basically, his idea, from what I heard in the team prep, was like, it'll Thunderwave things and slow things down, but there's honestly no reason to run a Manectric Specially Defensive at all. It did nothing in the match. It was his lead. He led with it. He paralyzed CJ's Mesprit. He Volt Switched out. And then it died to a Salamence later in the match. That was it. That was the extent of it. And here's the problem with running a Manectric Specially Defensive, right? If this hasn't occurred to anyone already. Manectric cannot take hits. It is never going to take a hit. Investing in it specially defensively just means that you're A, still not going to live a hit, and B, this time you're just not going to do crap when you hit something. So, yeah, basically don't do that. When you actually look at CJ's team, Manectric actually had a really good matchup on it. If he had ran it offensive, it may have been able to actually do work, but regular Manectric, never going to do work as a defensive mon, dude. You may, like, the moveset itself wasn't even bad. It's just the EV spread screwed it over from the start, so that's just my opinion on that. So let's move on to the next one, shall we? So next we have a set from Tyler, coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers, in his match versus Johan of the Shinryu Pikachus, and I've been waiting to do this one all week. When I first heard about it, it was mind-boggling. It was just mind-blowing. I could not understand. He brought Special Zygarde, which, when I actually watched the battle, I was like, that almost worked. It actually almost worked, but it was still a bad set. It was still a questionable set that I definitely would not have brought, but this man brought Special Zygarde, which got nasty passed into from a Togetic, and he attempted to sweep that way. It was Assault Vest Zygarde as well, and it almost worked, but there was no reason to run that at all, I think. I look at the matchup and I'm just like, why though? So Zygarde has base 81 special attack. I just looked it up. That is low AF, dude. Of all the things you can nasty pass into, Zygarde is not the one I think of. Dragon Dance Zygarde actually would have put in a lot of work, because in the end, as you'll see, even though he gets a few kills with the Zygarde, actually, he even kills the Charizard X, crazily enough, he gets killed by a Jolteon with HP Ice. Now, what's interesting about Zygarde is, and I understand why he ran it specially. First of all, just because he can nasty pass into it. And in the Zygarde's dual stab does do a lot of damage to Johan's team. But the problem with that is, Zygarde's special attack is low as crap, and the problem with the physical set is you're either running Outrage or you're running Dragon Tail as a physical dragon move. So he goes for Dragon Pulses, which of course you can easily spam with no disadvantages at all. But the problem with that is that you're still a Special Zygarde, and in the end what happens is he gets killed off by a not a Pikachu, I'm sorry guys, Shinryu Pikachus, right? He gets killed off by Johan's Jolteon, which HP Ices it as you might expect. Now what I would have done if I were Tyler, and obviously hindsight is 20/20, I can't say that, you know, he should have known this. Like, I understand where he was coming from with this set, even though I think it's really stupid. I do understand where he was coming from. But I think what he should have ran was Yachi Berry Dragon Dance Zygarde with Dragon Dance Extreme Speed Earthquake and maybe Outrage. I think that would have put in a lot more work. in reality, he never really needed the Dragon Stab. Like, Outrage is nice, but he never really needed to click it because of how weak Johan's team is to the ground stab. An extremely powerful Earthquake, especially at +1, would have done a lot of work. Really, all he would have needed to do would be to weaken the Gudra, and then he wouldn't have even needed to click Outrage at all. So that's something that I really think he should have considered. But in reality, he just ended up with 2 kind of useless Pokemon, because the Togetic didn't really do much else, and in the end he just lost the match. So I'm sorry, Tyler. It's just the way it is. So a day has passed since I've been able to record, and now we're on to the third one. The lighting's a little bit different because I'm recording this earlier. My shirt has changed, but we're still here to roast, guys. We're still here to roast. So we have here our third set of the week in the battle between Sharpickle and Gayspecs, aka the Hamden Hydreigons versus the Cindy Crocodiles. I think I did that reverse. I inverted it. Gayspecs of the Hamden Hydreigons versus Sharpickle of the Cindy Crocodiles. There we go. 10 out of 10, nailed it. So what we have here for our third one is not just like a pretty bad set, in my opinion, but we also have a horribly misplayed Pokemon, which you can argue technically isn't the point of this series, but we gotta touch on it anyway, guys. We gotta touch on it anyway. So we have Sharpeeno's Crocodile set. Now, he ran a max HP, max attack, expert belt Crocodile against J-Specs. It was Intimidate as well. And it was not good. Admittedly, on the first turn, he made a mistake and clicked Earthquake on an Air Balloon Cobalion because his capture card messed up and he couldn't see that it was Air Balloon. You can see that in his video. It's actually really unfortunate, so it did even limit the Crocodile set more, but I would argue it was screwed from the start because here's the problem with it. It's slower than basically everything on J-Spec's team, and it's weak to a lot of things. Crocodile's defensive typing is relatively bad in terms of the kind of hits it can take. It's very weak to things like Fairy Fighting and all that. And what's even more important than that, what really matters, is that J-Specs had a Choice Specs Raikou. Now, looking at Sharpeeno's team, like the whole thing, you could easily see that it is very weak to electric types. And a Choice Specs Raikou in particular, or even a Calm Mind Raikou, whatever set J-Specs was going to bring a Raikou was going to be a huge threat to this thing. And he let it go down like turn 3, I think. It just died. And then, as you'll see if you watch the match, you'll see that Raikou just cleans up from there like crazy. Like, it just volt switches around, thunderbolts everything. It's crazy, man. It just destroys Sharpeeno's team, which could have been avoided if he had an electric immunity in the back. So what we have here is a combination of a Pokemon that's misplayed, and because it's built like it was max HP, no speed, not Choice Scarf or anything. It was going to take damage. That's the way it was. It even just weakened it a little bit. Raikou could potentially bait it and kill it with a Signal Beam or whatever, possibly HP Ice, whatever J-Specs was running. So basically what we have here is a combination of bad prep and bad play, which I think my point is here, not trying to bash anyone, what I'm really trying to get at here is you need to consider more than just what a Pokemon can do offensively. Even if it's not technically a defensive Pokemon, you also have to consider, okay, I have an immunity which prevents this from happening, right? So you got to be really careful about that. You got to make sure that you do not get destroyed by a Specs Raikou just completely moving around your team. So that is going to conclude our video for today, guys. If you enjoyed, do hit that like button and subscribe for more PMC hype. I will be back next week with 3 more sets and a few more memes. So until then,